Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, the Science of Krishna, Canto 3, the Status Quo, Chapter 25, the Glories of Devotional Service, text number 12, text 12. Maitreya Vacha Iti Samatahu Ravadyam Ipshatam Vashanya Pumsam Apavarga Vardhanam Diya Abhinindya Atmavatam Satam Bhakti Babashay Ishat Smita Shobhata Anana Maitreya Vacha Iti Swamatu Navadyamipshatam Dashanya Pansam Abhivagavardhanam Dayabhinanad Yadnadvatam Satam Katir Babasharishat Smita Shobhitanamaham Maitreya Vacha Iti Swamatu Navadyam Ipshatam Vashanya Pumsam Abhivagavardhanam Dayamanandya Matvatam Satam Katir Babashayishad Smita Shobhitanamaham Maitreya Vacha Iti Sasatir Niranta Ipsita Isham Yatum Samapavarkavardhanam Diyabhinandya Madhvavam Satam Katir Vabhasha Ishat Smita Shobhitanaha
Maitreya Vacha
Maitreya Vacha
Iti Swamatur Niravajamipsitam
Iti Samatu Nirvadamipsitam
Shamya Pumsam Vargavardhanam
Nishamya Pumsam Apavargavardhanam
Yabhinanyat Bhavatam Satam Gatir
Yabhinandya Mavatam Satam Gatir
Vasha Ishat Smita Shobhitanaha
Babhasha Isha Smita Shobhitanaha
Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreya Vacha
Iti Swamhatur Niravadyamipsitam
Iti Samatu Nirvadamipsitam
Nishangya Pumsam Hapavargavardhanam
Nishamya Pumsam Apavargavardhanam
Diyabhinhadyat Mavatam Satam Gatir
Diyabhinadya Mavatam Satam Gatir
Babashahishat Smita Shobhitananaha
Babhasha Isha Smita Shobhitanaha Maitreya Vacha Iti Swamatur Narvadamipsitam Nishamya Pumsam Apavargavardhanam Diya vinamyat bhavatam satam gatir. Prabhasha ishat smita shobhitanah.
Maitreya
Uvacha
Iti Swamatur Nirvadamipshitam
Itam samatu nirvadamipsitam
Nisham Yapumsam Pavargavardhanam
Nisham yapumsam apavargavardhanam
Dhyavinadyat Mavatam Satam Katir
Diyavinadhyad mavatam satam gatir
Abhashta Isha Smita Shobhinanaha
Prabhasha ishat smita shobhitanah.
Maitreya Uvacha
Maitreya Uvacha
Iti Swamatu Niravatyamipsitam
Iti samatu nirvadamipsitam
Nishamya Pumsa Apavargavardhanam
Nishamya pumsam apavargavardhanam
Dhyabhinandyamatavatam satam katir
Diyavinadya mavatam satam gatir
Bhavasya Isha Smita Shobhitanah
Prabhasha isha smita shobhitanah.
Devotees online.
Maitreya Vacha
Maitreya Uvacha
Iti Swamatu Niravatyamipsitam
Iti samatu nirvadamipsitam
Nishamya Pumsam Apavargavardhanam
Nishamya pumsam apavargavardhanam
Dhiya Binandyatmavatam Satam Gatir
Diyavinadhyad mavatam satam gatir
Abhasa Ishat Smita Shobhitananaha
Prabhasha isha smita shobhitanah.
Anyone else? Maitreya
Maitreya said, Iti, thus, Swamatuhu, of his mother, Niravadyam, uncontaminated, Ipshitam, desire, Nishamya, after hearing, Pumsam, of people, Apavarga, cessation of bodily existence, Vardhanam, increasing, Dhyan, mentally, Abhinandyan, having thanked, Atmavatam, interested in self-realization, Satam, of the transcendentalists, Gatahi, the path, Babashe, he explained, Ishad, slightly, Smita, smiling, Shobhata, beautiful, Ananaha, his face. Maitreya said, this is translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus his face smiling, he explained the path of the transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Purport. Devahuti has surrendered her confession of material entanglement and her desire to gain release. Her questions to Lord Kapila are very interesting for persons who are actually trying to get liberation from material entanglement and attain the perfectional stage of human life. Unless one is interested in understanding his spiritual life, or his constitutional position, and unless he also feels inconvenience in material existence, his human form of life is spoiled. One who does not care for these transcendental necessities of life and simply engages like an animal in eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating has spoiled his life. Lord Kapila was very much satisfied by his mother's questions because the answers stimulate one's desire for liberation from the conditional life of material existence. Such questions are called apavarga vardhanam. Those who have actual spiritual interest are called sat, or devotees. Satam pasangat. Sat means that which eternally exists, and asat means that which is not eternal. Unless one is situated on the spiritual platform, he is not sat, he is asat. The asat stands on a platform which will not exist. But anyone who stands on the spiritual platform will exist eternally. As spirit soul, everyone exists eternally, but the asat has accepted the material world as his shelter, and therefore he is full of anxiety. Asat grahan, the incompatible situation of the spirit soul, who has the false idea of enjoying matter, is the cause of the soul's being asat. Actually, the spirit soul is not asat. As soon as one is conscious of this fact and takes the Krishna consciousness, he becomes sat. Satam gati, the path of the eternal, is very interesting to persons who are after liberation. And his lordship Kapila began to speak about that path. Donovan Maharaj, we would like to hear your comments on Srimad Bhagavatam, if possible. You're welcome to give your comments anytime. Om Jnana Timandasya Jnana Jnana Shalakaya Chaksha Enmaditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a perfect book of perfect questions and perfect answers. Everyone is asking questions and answers on if one goes to Wall Street, there are hundreds of people. Jai Shri Gaura Nitai. There are hundreds of businessmen asking, what is the price of gold? What is the price of wheat today? What is the price of oil? But these questions do not lead to self-realization. These questions are asat. They're on the temporary platform. And the devotee, like Devahuti, she's interested in sat. She presents herself as contaminated by material desires. She presents herself as a fallen woman, less intelligent. But actually, she's the most intelligent because she's taken shelter of the sat. Her own son was a sat, and her husband was also sat. And Devahuti, she was a unalloyed, uncontaminated servant of her husband, and now, after her husband Kapila left home and adopted the renounced order of life, she accepted her son as a sat, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Dr. Martin Luther King once said that everybody can become great. Everybody can serve. But very few people know what is the proper object of service. people are serving different masters or different objects of service for the purpose of sense gratification. Somebody's serving their race, somebody's serving their nation, somebody's serving their husband, somebody's serving their wife, somebody's serving their children, somebody's serving their senses, somebody's serving intoxication, gambling, meat eating, somebody's serving the Kansas City Chiefs, they're glorifying the Chiefs, they're buying Kansas City Chiefs sweatshirts with, and they have to pay a high price for these sweatshirts, but they don't understand that they're giving free advertisement to a multi-billion-dollar business. So the business should pay them for the sweatshirts, but they don't understand that they're being cheated. So in this material world, it's a society of cheaters and the cheated. No one knows who is the proper object of service. Only the sought are the proper object of service. And the sought are the Lord Himself, who is Satchidananda, and the devotee is also Satchidananda. So if one serves an uncontaminated devotee who's engaged in undeviated devotional service, then he also can develop the freedom from the three modes of material nature, which is the goal of everyone's trying to get free from entanglement. Don't understand that they're entangled by their kama and lobha, lust and greed, and they're entangled by the desire for intoxication, which is the lowest mode of material nature. So this verse is very important, and it gives the direct instructions on how to get free from all the miseries of life. And Kapila was smiling because his mother was on the same platform as himself. They're both pure. So that in that situation, the questions and answers become very, very pleasant. So Srimad Bhagavatam should be discussed in the association of pure devotees, not the devotees who are after a big salary or a comfortable position in the material world. And a spiritual master is not an instrument for one's sense gratification. A spiritual master's duty is not to instruct a disciple on how to live comfortably in this material world. The spiritual master's instruction to the disciple is how to get free from this material world and go back home, back to Godhead, how to develop real love of God. Any comments or questions so far? Yes, Jagannath Prabhu.
I really struggle with knowing who is a devotee, and I mean, I know we're all devotees, but I mean, somewhat. We're supposed to think that everyone's a devotee except for ourselves, and that's what we're taught. But it's hard because you want to please everyone, but sometimes it's not like I just want to know. You said pure devotees, but are we supposed to serve everyone in this moment?
By serving the pure devotee, by serving Krishna, everyone is satisfied. Just by watering the root of the tree, all the leaves are satisfied. And the symptoms of a devotee are given in this chapter 25. The symptoms of a sadhu. this chapter is very important, the glories of devotional service. Kapila says, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me. So in ISKCON, in every temple, there are various forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whether Lakshmi Narayan or Radha Krishna or Gauranitai or Sitaram. So these forms are all auspicious, and the devotees are attached to these forms of the Lord. And those in Lord Chaitanya's movement, they also try to spread this knowledge of bhakti as far as possible. And there are different divisions of devotees. There's the Kanistha-adhikari, the Madhyama-adhikari, and the Uttama-adhikari. So we should try to become devotees, and the middle class devotees, the Madhyama-adhikari, he sees the innocent who have no knowledge of devotional service, and he tries to impress devotional service upon them, and he sees the devotees of the Lord, and he makes friends with the devotees. And for the Uttama-adhikari, he serves the lotus feet of the Uttama-adhikari devotee. And sometimes the Uttama-adhikari devotee comes down to be on the Madhyama-adhikari platform in order to preach. The Uttama-adhikari generally does not preach. But in Lord Chaitanya's movement, they often come down to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Because the Uttama-adhikari sees everyone's a devotee except me. I'm simply a rascal. Just like Devahuti, she sees herself as a fallen woman. But a devotee knows he's not this body. I'm not a man, I'm not a woman, I'm an eternal spirit soul, I'm an eternal servant of the Lord. Does that help any? Shoot.
So I'm not trying to find fault, because I really do think that I'm trying to see that everyone's trying their best, and I'm trying to be a servant as much as I possibly can, as much as my false ego lets me, at least. Why did Prabhupada then say that we should, if our love will be showed for him by how well we cooperate with each other? Does that mean we should? I don't really get that. I don't really understand. Because if we're supposed to cooperate with each other, that means we're supposed to serve each other. Right?
Yes, just like in the family, the father is supposed to be like the spiritual master. So all the children cooperate with the father, and by cooperating, the father is pleased. But if the children are fighting and quarreling all the time, the father is displeased.
I was wondering when Prabhupada said one time that our love for him will be showed by how much we cooperate with each other. So my question was, should we, even though we may make distinctions, should we try to serve each other no matter what? Or does cooperation mean serving each other, basically?
Yes, but they're serving each other not for each other's sense gratification. Like there are other societies, there are other clubs and associations, but their goal is sense gratification. But our goal is Krishna's sense gratification, not our senses. There was one Italian philosopher who was a contemporary of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Niccolo Machiavelli, and he was a diplomat, a philosopher and author. And his thesis, his philosophy was based on his observation. And he observed that everybody is self-interested, whether man or woman or king or prince or pauper. Everybody is self-interested. Everybody wants their own interest. And Machiavelli is sometimes called the father of modern politics because he observed that a king or a politician, if he's flourishing, he has to engage in deception. He has to engage in treachery. He has to engage in violence. Then he can flourish. But he was only observing demons' behavior. In the Vedic history, we have examples of great kings who were very pious, like Maharaj Yudhisthira. He was the king of this whole world, and he never told a lie in his entire life. So he was a perfect moralist. He wasn't immoral, like the modern so-called kings and rulers. Is Magadari Prabhu?
Hare Krishna. So on this topic of the cooperation, really like the point that you mentioned at the end, that we're not serving each other for our personal sense gratification. We're serving each other for the sense gratification of the spiritual master or Krishna ultimately. And it's very logical that disputes among materialistically minded beginners in the devotional path creates headaches for the spiritual master and the Guru Parampara in general.
Right. Yeah.
And they'd rather we be putting our heads together for spreading this movement through book distribution and prasad distribution and harinams and
Exactly. So Prabhupada's books are so important, and book distribution is also important to distribute this knowledge, especially to the intelligent class. Recently in Vrindavan, India, the president of India came to the Krishna Balaram temple this year, and she was saying that Western devotees were there and they were taking up Bhagavad Dharma, and she was very pleased. And she met the Gurukula students and gave them presents, and it was a very auspicious occasion. And also the governor of Uttar Pradesh was also there. It was the opening anniversary of Krishna Balaram after 50 years of serving Krishna Balaram, there was a celebration, and the governor of Uttar Pradesh was there. It was a very auspicious celebration. Yes, Bhagadari Prabhu.
Yeah, while we were in the purport, there was this concept about having accepted as shelter. And I think Prabhupada was referring to a materialistic person. And I thought we usually don't think of materialistic people having taken shelter. But could you talk about taking, could you talk about this?
Yeah. Yeah, in the previous verse, Devahudi said, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. So people are taking shelter of different philosophers, Karl Marx or Charles Darwin, but these are asat, they're not sat. One should not associate with asat, let alone to take shelter of someone who is asat. Other people are taking shelter of different demigods, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Goddess Lakshmi, or Durga Devi, Mother Kali. But these are asat because the demigods are not sat, they're temporary. When this universe is annihilated, all the demigods are annihilated. And their worshippers are also annihilated. So if the spiritual master is a pure devotee of Krishna and his disciple sincere, then the transmission of knowledge takes place. Just like if the husband is virile and the wife is fertile, and when there is sex, there is fruit, there is a child. She's going to time. Much of the time, Srila Prabhupada didn't appreciate the questions that people were asking him. Somebody asked him, "What was my past life?" and they asked various things about karma and this and that. But Prabhupada said, "All your questions can be answered by reading my books." That's why Prabhupada spent so much time translating and commenting on Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita and other Vedic literatures. So these books are valuable for eternity. And sometimes Prabhupada said, I'm not a question and answer machine. If you have further questions about deity worship or taking care of Tasa, you could ask Govinda Devi. For deity worship, you could ask Kirtananda Maharaj, or cooking, you could ask Kirtananda Maharaj, or other senior devotees. time for the Sankirtan Festival. All glories to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. For the pleasure of Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Lord Nrsimhadev and Prahlad Maharaj, and Tulsi Maharani, all the Vaishnavacharyas, and Srila Prabhupada, as well as His Holiness Dandavir Maharaj, and all the assembled devotees, we will announce the scores for this week. So, this week, I have reported 3 book distributors. Haribol!
How do you turn this off?
And in third position with two magazines, 3 small books, 3 medium books, 3 big books, and 3 Maha Big books, for a total of 11.45 book points. Jagannath Das. Haribol! And the in second position with pardon me. Okay. Second. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Okay. With six small, 4 medium, 3 big books, and 2 Maha Big books for an undetermined amount of book points. Magadari Das. Hare Krishna. And in first position with 6 small books, 6 medium books, 6 big books, and 6 Maha Big books for an undetermined amount of book points, or 3.75 times 6. Can you do it? 3.75 times 6. 18.75 book points. The book table team, Haribo. Okay, so I went with Rupugna Prabhu to a concert downtown that we were invited to, and there was an opportunity for a book table, so we went there on invitation, and I'll show you some of the nice people that we met. So, actually, we went to the event, and it was actually a type of an Indian concert. And mostly we had success with nice local people that were very humble and open-hearted. This gentleman gave a nice donation. The photo credit is to Prabhu, who was the main support for this, and I just got on the camera. Okay, Charisma Book Distribution Ki Jai. Okay, and Jagannath Prabhu, please give us some highlights.
My highlight was on last Saturday when we went to Mahainam. I had been chanting rounds for about maybe 2 hours, I think. And I had finished my rounds, and I was trying to distribute books to as many people as I could. And this one guy, he was coming out of Buco di Beppo or something like that. And I saw that he had a bunch of tattoos, and the first thing that I saw was his earrings. His earrings were huge. They were gold, and they were really big. They were diamond shaped. And so I went up to him and I said, "Man, I love your earrings. They're so great." And he was like, "Hey, thanks, man." And I was like, "Hey, I also like all your tattoos. They're really cool." And he said, "Yeah, thank you very much." And so I gave him I told him about what we do as a temple, how we're having fundraisers, and how we would love it if he could give a donation. And he did. He did give a donation. It was very nice, and he was very happy, and I was very happy, and that's about it though. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.
Okay, thank you very much. I encourage everybody, if you'd like to learn more about distributing books, there's distributingbooks.com. It's a BBT-sponsored and education platform for all the devotees who want to check it out. And you can contact myself or Sarvamangala Mataji for getting involved in the book distribution revolution. And we're focusing in this season on the distribution of Srimad Bhagavatam sets. We have a One World Team goal of 100,008 Bhagavatams to be distributed. So let's do our best, and Hare Krishna. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai.